Hi there and welcome to this video review of the YoloBox Pro from YoloLiv. Now just before I begin the review, quick disclaimer, YoloLiv did send me this unit for the purpose of this review, but they're not paying me in any way and the thoughts and opinions expressed are entirely my own. So in this video, I'll be going over my thoughts and opinions on using the YoloBox Pro. I have already done a full deep dive detailed video of all of the functionality and every menu setting of this video. So if you're interested in that, it's kind of like a virtual manual, a walkthrough of the device. You can check the link in the video description or the video just up here. So just beginning with exactly what the YoloBox Pro is and what it does. It's really designed as a one-stop shop streaming device. So it is an encoder, it's a switcher, it's a recorder, it's a monitor all in one. And typically with streaming devices, you often need a laptop or a computer with an internet connection, and you would connect your switcher to that, and that would be how you stream. This device does it all in one box. Now the functionality of this device is fantastic and it operates through an 8-inch touchscreen. And this is just like any tablet, iPad sort of device that you'd expect. It's very responsive. The screen is big enough to allow granular level of control of sliders, and moving around the device, the interface is all very simple. Nice and clean, easy to use. I really liked it. The display comes in at 8 inches. It has 400 nits of brightness and it's an IPS display. It's very clear, very crisp. I really liked using it. With that 400 nits, you can use it outdoors, so streaming outdoors is possible. You may need some sort of sun hood for the very brightest of days, but I found it very usable in outdoor conditions. Now the user experience through the interface that the YoloBox Pro has is very good on the whole. It's a simple, clean interface and it's well laid out and it's nicely intuitive. So every setting that you'd expect is under the right sub-menu. It has nice tabs along the bottom. So things for like your audio, for your lower thirds, for your scoreboard, etc. Most things can be accessed with 1 or 2 presses, which is really good. So you're not having to dive down deep into sub-menus to find certain settings. The internals of the device as well are powerful, so it has a good CPU. So when you are streaming and operating the device, it's not lagging, it's not locking up on you, it's not taking too long, it's nice and responsive, and that's super handy. Now, one of the things I really liked about the device was the audio options and the ability to mix audio through this device without an external audio desk. You can still do that way, but certainly for single streamers, the simplicity of being able to do it on the device and have multiple audio inputs. You have a line and mic input on the device itself, and you can also take in audio feeds through the various inputs, so through the HDMIs, and you can mix those audio levels on the fly through the device, through the audio interface menu within the YoloBox Pro. One of the key audio features that the YoloBox Pro has is AFV, or audio follows video mode, and you have the ability to turn this on or off. If audio follows video, as you switch between video sources, as the name suggests, the audio will be coming from whatever video source you have live. Now sometimes this is useful, but most of the times you want the audio coming from a dedicated single source. So for example, at the moment I'm mic'd up. If I was changing my camera to another one, but I still wanted to be talking over it, I would want the audio to remain with this camera source. It just means that the need for a separate audio mixing desk isn't a necessity. Of course, you still have that option, but for those people that want a simple, easy setup, you can certainly do most of that through the YoloBox Pro's audio interface. Now, in terms of the streaming connection, you have a number of different options here. The device obviously has Wi-Fi built in, so you connect if you are in a building with Wi-Fi and you have a connection, you connect to that and then push your stream out over Wi-Fi. It also has an Ethernet port, so you can do that through a wired connection, and it also has a slot for a SIM card, so you could connect to a mobile network and stream like that if you're on location. Now for streaming on location where you did want to take advantage of a mobile network, what I actually found was the best way of doing this was using your phone and creating a Wi-Fi hotspot on your phone and then connecting the device via Wi-Fi to your phone and streaming that way. And when I had good 4G and even 5G signal, the streaming with this device was fantastic. So the ability to stream literally anywhere where you've got mobile signal, through just this single device, no cables required, is fantastic. So in terms of connecting cameras to the device, it has 3 HDMI ports. It also has 2 USB. One of these can only be used for charging, whereas one can be used for connecting USB webcams, for example. It does advise you to use the HDMI ports rather than USB, but I tested this with old 720p webcams and it accepts them just fine, even mixing them with HDMI video sources as well. When you are using the USB devices, sometimes the audio through those devices is a little bit hit and miss. That's not down really to the YoloBox Pro, it's more down to the device. If you are taking sound in from camera devices, you're always going to be better connecting via HDMI. Now, one thing I did notice whilst using the unit for a couple of hours is it does get a little bit warm. Certainly nothing to be concerned about. It does have a fan inside and that will kick in. Makes a tiny bit of noise. It's not a particularly loud fan, and most of the time your switcher isn't going to be next to your microphone. If it is, it's just something to take into account. It's not particularly loud and it does a good job of keeping the unit within operating temperatures. Now, the actual streaming experience on this device I found was really, really good. Obviously, streaming depends on end-to-end connection, so it does depend on what type of connection the end user has. But when monitoring the streams, because of that powerful Qualcomm 660 processor inside, it's able to handle high bit rates. So if you are wanting to stream really high quality streams, this device is definitely capable of doing that. On stable internet connections, I was seeing almost flawless streams, really high quality, streaming up to 1080p, of course. This doesn't do 4K, but that 1080p at high bit rate looks fantastic. So some of the other functionality that the unit has, which really surprised me, was the titling options, the lower third options. All of that is built in, and I thought this might be a little bit clunky and not work that well. It's certainly very easy to use. You can customize the titles and lower thirds quite a bit within the interface, change fonts, change colors, transparency. You also have the ability to load your own in through the SD card slot, and this was a really easy thing to do. Another option that surprised me in the YoloBox Pro was the option to chroma key and do this on the fly. So you can do this with green or blue backgrounds, and you select which color you are using, and then you have a few sliders to tweak just to get the chroma key nice and sharp. And actually, if you're using a decent background, I even shot against just some blue blinds in a room, and I was able to get a pretty good key off those. So using dedicated backgrounds, no problem at all. As long as they're reasonably well lit, this is going to handle that pretty well. The YoloBox Pro also has the ability to record while streaming, and it uses the SD card slot, and it will take cards up to 128 gigabytes in size. So it's super handy if you do want to record your stream and then edit it afterwards for other use. You can do that once again, all inside the YoloBox Pro. The only slight niggle that I had with the SD card is that it goes in the opposite way to what I was expecting, so slightly upside down. And I did actually almost get an SD card stuck in there. It's just something to be aware of. It's a mistake you're only going to make once, but the first time you're using it, the SD cards go in the other way than what you may expect. So overall, the YoloBox Pro from YoloLiv, I think, is a fantastic all-in-one switching, encoding, recording and monitoring solution. I've had a lot of fun using it, and hopefully you found this video useful. Do check out that other video that I've made if you're interested in a deep dive of all of the functionality and have a look at every menu and how the YoloBox Pro actually operates. If you've got any questions or comments, drop them below. I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.